So good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have Derek May here. He has founded a ton of businesses. He'll be sure to give you his whole spiel. But he is the founder of Cabin Homes, and it's California Homes as well.
California Lofts.
California Lofts. I was so close. My apologies. And he also does real estate marketing consulting. And so he is the perfect person to talk a little bit more about building your network organically. So we're going to be talking about networking and social media today. And so he's got a lot of great information to share, and I'm going to let him get started.
Sounds great. Let me share my screen here. Okay, how's that? We all have that? It appears so. Okay, I'm going to turn my camera off while I'm talking, so you guys are looking at my talking points and not me, because I think that's better use of your time. I'm Derek May. I've been in the industry for 20 years. I got my start in boutique real estate, where I spent about 10 to 12 years in luxury boutique in the coast, Southern California coast, mostly Newport Beach and Laguna Beach, where I helped found a few companies and create in-house ad agencies within those companies. I departed after about 12 years and I started consulting, and I worked for some larger real estate businesses like First Team Real Estate, and then helped launch a couple boutique brokerages. And then I founded my own architectural based firm called Nook Real Estate and sold it to Compass about 3 years ago. I currently have 2 projects that I'm working on at Radius. One is called California Lofts. It's focused on urban living, specifically lofts and high rises throughout California. It's like a big referral network, and then I work all the leads in San Diego. And then I also co-founded a business called cabinhomes.com. So it's all the cabins nationwide, and all those leads. I work the leads in the San Bernardino Mountains, so Big Bear, Lake Arrowhead, etc., and then refer all the other leads out nationwide. So I'm a big online person, lead gen, SEO. I'm actually going to do an SEO room in the next month, towards the end of the month. Hila, do you have the exact date on that? I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me.
I want to say end of this month, April 30th, but that might get moved. So
yeah, okay, no worries. So yeah, so that'll be the big exclamation point on this 3-part series, which is all about marketing organically. And today we'll be talking about organic networking and social media. And networking, is it's like the quintessential, should be the centerpiece of your business, blocking and tackling. But not every agent does it. I'm actually not the best at doing it. So this is kind of a good refresher for me and helping me solidify my business in San Diego, because I moved here about a year ago after being here at San Diego State for 5 years. I moved back to Orange County, and now I'm back. And so doing this, putting this together is actually really helping me. So I'm going to go through this with you guys. The most important thing that you can do with networking is join at least one club, a cause, or a community. Minimum 1, 2 would be great. And those could be different things. We'll talk about that. Like church is one. Ideally, it's something that's authentic to your interests. That's where you're going to have the best chance to actually collaborate and chat with folks that are akin to you. And that means that you'll breed better business with them, because the conversation will be better. You'll build more trust, et cetera, et cetera. So that can be 2 of the bullet points I shared here. And then I'm happy to share this link with everybody who's in the room, or maybe Hila, you can drop it in chat. But
yes,
yeah, so
I'll do that right now.
Okay, thank you. So attending local events, participating in your community gatherings, industry meetups, networking events to expand your circle. Like I said, that could be church, that could be like PTA. You could hold like the neighborhood garage sales, all those types of things. And I know some of the stuff is like, yeah, I've heard this before, but there's hearing it and there's executing it. There's actually putting it to practice and doing it. Is everybody on this call, are you guys all member of at least one club or a cause or a community? Minimum 2, or ideally 2?
No.
Yes.
Okay, so mixed bag there.
No.
I'm I'm a part of one, if we want to call Orange Theory, where I work out, like a community. It is a community. I don't promote my real estate the best that I could there. I could be wearing like a shirt while I'm working out that says like I sell real estate, or something more toned down with like a Radius logo on it or something, or even my own California Lofts logo, etc. So when you go to these things, you don't have to, you can silently promote by wearing something like that, by wearing a shirt, a hat, or whatever. You don't, if you're not the best, you don't have the gift of gab. Not everybody does. I know it used to take me a couple drinks to start talking to some folks that I didn't know. That's an opportunity for you to promote your message, or to get noticed within those groups. The other thing that you can do is attend niche events. So there's a lender that I work with, and he is really into cars, and it has nothing to do with lending, but people that go to car shows have money. Typically, if you have the cars, you have money, right? Not everybody who attends the car show has money, but the people who actually had the cars have money. So he would go and he would do like an interview with these folks for his social media, and kind of talk to them and hype them up in their cars and whatnot. And he built relationships with these folks, some of them who had money and who actually ended up buying homes with them. So purchasing homes with loans from his services, I should say. So that's something that you should have, something that's community, and then ideally something that you're super into, like a car show, or for me, it's architecture. So I go out to Modernism Week out in Palm Springs a lot, and I know there's a few realtors out there, and but it's not for me. It's about rubbing elbows and meeting people and seeing what's next in the marketplace, and going to the trade show first, and also having some stuff for social media second, which I'll talk about social media, and third, to meet clients that way. I'm really trying to educate myself, meet other people who might know people who might introduce somebody down the road or whatever, but I'm really trying to fortify myself as a architectural expert. And I don't have to be like the expert. I don't have to be the all-knowing, all omnipotent guy, but I need to make sure I know what's being talked about, what's in and what's out in terms of modern and things like that. So I highly encourage you guys to do one local thing at a minimum, and then do one niche-y thing that can either be a niche that is with your real estate, like for me, the modern piece, the architecture piece, but doesn't have to be, going back to my example with Darren, my lender, who attends car shows to meet higher-end clients and talk about cars on his social media, so that people aren't just seeing rates and this and that and California Dream for All program at XYZ, and they're just scrolling through and skipping all of his content. So he peppers in that good stuff. So I'll talk more about social in a second, but yeah. Hila, anything there?
Nope, I think we're all good.
Okay. And
Does anyone have any questions? I just want to make sure before we move on. No? All right. Derek, you're good to go.
Cool. Okay. And so by doing that, you're going to build genuine relationships, which is what networking is all about, by focusing on establishing meaningful connections with members of that community. And when you're trying to accomplish that, offering value is going to be paramount in that. So providing useful information, resources, and support to others without expecting immediate returns. So like I was talking about earlier, you're planting seeds. This stuff isn't going to happen overnight. You might meet somebody who introduces you to somebody 6 months from now, or it could be 6 years from now. Hopefully not 6 years, it's closer to 6 months, but it might be someone who introduces you to somebody else. So it's all the organic stuff, it's all plant the seed and watch it grow, right? It's SEO is like that. The brand part, which I talked about in my last session, it's all plant intentionally, wait, water, nurture, and let it unfold. It's the same with these relationships at the networking events. And then at the end, following up, making sure that you have regular communication with your network through personalized emails, calls, or messages to nurture the relationship. Water your plant, right? You planted your seed, grew into a nice plant. You got to water it, or else it's going to die. So you got to make sure that you're constantly reaching out, cultivating that relationship and taking care of it. Anything before I roll on to social media? So, and to be clear again, I'm not the best I'm practicing when I'm preaching about the organic networking. I need to do a better job in San Diego. I do the niche stuff. Like I said, I go to the meeting out in Modernism Week. I attend that all week, but I need to do a better job locally. And so I appreciate the opportunity to present to you guys, because it had me, hold myself accountable on it. Not everyone's good at this, but it's a relationship business, and the networking is tried and true. I know, again, that it's been, talked about for years, but it's one thing to talk about it. It's another thing to practice it. So have at it. Okay. Social media. So the content mix. So here's my approach. I know a lot of people have different approaches, but for me, this is the easiest way to stay on top of your social media, have it be the most meaningful, is I have one account. I just have my personal account. I don't have this is Derek May's personal account. Here's Derek May's real estate account. Here's Derek May's thing where he likes architecture. It's too much. When you have 2 accounts, 3 accounts, you will post on none of them. Maybe your personal, and then the other one, you're like, I don't really feel like doing it, or I can't think of good content today. And what would people share about that the other realtors in my neighborhood haven't posted 5,000 times? Just stop. Just do one personal account and make that personal account all about your life, because people really care about your life, and that content will be unique to you. And you don't have to worry about Betty Sue Realtor who sells 3 blocks over from you. People care about you. They like you. That's why they follow you. So post your regular life and think about your real estate stuff as commercials on your TV show. So your Instagram is just all about you. It's your TV show. It's Derek May Hour every day, 24 hours a day. That sounds like a lot of Derek May, by the way. Anyway, and what I'll do is then I'll post like some sort of something about rates, or some real estate meme, like some funny thing about real estate, or some headline or whatever. And so when you see my 9 pictures of my new dog in my story, and then I put something about real estate in the middle of it, people can't help but see it. They remember that I'm in real estate, which is the most important thing. It's just saying like, hey, don't forget about me. I sell real estate. It's, if you post something about real estate within your personal mix, you've already won. Don't overthink the content. You're probably not going to grab them with the content anyway. They're just going to see the fact that like, oh yeah, he's a realtor. Now back to the dog. I want to see the dog. And so they'll keep going through and seeing more dog photos. And then 3 days from now, I'll post 7 more dog photos, and somewhere in there I'll have something else about rates, or I just sold a house, or I'm doing an open house, or whatever. I'm promoting real estate. So just think about your Instagram or your social, whatever account or platform you're using, probably Instagram. It's all about you, your TV show, and put in your real estate commercials within your TV show. Any questions about that?
Derek?
Yeah, Liam, you had a question?
Yeah. So you're talking about Instagram specifically, or Facebook?
Yeah. I typically talk about Instagram because it's what I use the most, and it's what most people use, especially folks who have, money to purchase. And I know that's changing a lot with TikTok. I'm not a TikTok person. I do have Facebook. I don't really. It's linked. Whatever I post to Instagram will be shared onto Facebook, but I don't really think about Facebook in terms of my content mix. I think purely by Instagram, because I'm so visual and I post so many stories, and that's what everybody's looking at, is stories and reels. And Facebook's kind of a little bit more a community and posting pictures or groups and things like that. So I'm just kind of like a picture and a sentence or two and I move on kind of guy, because that's what most people have attention span for.
So have you ever run into issues well, if it's on Instagram, you may not have, but Facebook has some rules about posting business content on a personal page. So they tell you if you're going to be, posting, if you're a realtor and you're posting stuff about properties, you should get a business page and post it there. Otherwise, you go to Facebook jail.
So I've personally never encountered that. Like I said, I had my Instagram linked to my Facebook. I recently just deactivated my Facebook. It was just kind of too noisy for me. But I've been posting for years and years and years of whatever I wanted in my stories and to my regular, just my Instagram account. And I never had that issue. But again, I am one who posts probably like 85% about me and 15% about real estate.
Yeah, so that'll probably do it. If those numbers were reversed, you'd probably get
totally. But also, if those numbers were reversed, I wouldn't have 700 followers. I'd have 7, because nobody cares about me telling them about rates every day.
Makes sense.
You know what I mean? Or how great I am and how I just sold another $400,000 condo. Nobody cares. They care when you highlight it, when you make it stand out and amongst all your other things, and it looks like a cool accolade, like, hey, look what I just did. People are like, yay, instead of like, hey, look what I did again. It's the repetition for posting is critical. It's so good to stay in front of people all the time, but no one likes a bragger, and no one wants to hear about rates that they've heard about from 4 other sources this morning while they're having their coffee. You know what I mean? So less is more. All about you. People can't get enough about you. Keep the accolades and the real estate stuff, keep it to where it's pertinent, to where it's good info. I'll give you a good example. The California Dreams for All program came back online for Californians, and it's a big thing for first-time home buyers. And I posted something, and I didn't just post like an article or like whatever. I thought, okay, people can retain maybe like 3 bullets whenever they see it in a story. So I came up with the 3 bullets that I thought were most important about the program. And of course, I'm going to draw a blank right now when pressed about it, but just know I did my homework and I picked 3 bullets, and I made a slide, and it said, California Dream for All is back. You must have these 3 criteria to focus. 0%, and it was like 0% down up to 250,000 down, or whatever it was. And like your parents can't currently own a home. And I got 7 leads from that. And I don't get a lot of like leads from Instagram, but when I do, they're super meaningful and they convert. So I have 4 people that are now pre-qualified, 2 people via that program, and 1 person that is an escrow. And so I didn't come up with some world beating thing. The content was great, the design was fine, but it was thoughtful and it was deliberate and it was like very easy to digest. It was just 3 things, and people saw it because it was within my personal mix. I had posted all this stuff about whatever was going on that week, probably March Madness, San Diego State stuff, and then all of a sudden, I had this thing in there. And some people were like, parents can't own a home. What is that talking about? And I put that in there deliberately because it's such a like weird caveat to the program. And so I started a lot of dialogue that way with like, yeah, your parents can't own a home if you want to, qualify for this program. And so that sparked conversation. And other people were like, hey, I meet all this criteria. And so it's not like a world beater, esoteric, high design thing. It was just like, hey, this is probably going to hit home with some of my people. Everybody knew about California Dreams for All in my area and in my circle because I'd promoted about it before. And now that it's back and there's these caveats, I think I should share it. And it worked. And it's because I don't post about real estate stuff all day, every day. Okay. And then the last thing you can do for your content mix is client testimonials, like a picture of them in front of their house. And this sounds so like it's not unique, but it works and it's real, right? It's reality TV. It's your reality TV show again. So a picture of your clients with like a little testimonial about how easy it was to work with you or why they trust you or et cetera, et cetera. That stuff goes a long way. So I would post the real estate stuff that I would post within your personal mix is things that are unique, like the California Dreams for All program. Then I would post whenever you just list something or just sold, I would do that. That's important. The stuff where it's like, I'm holding my 4th open house for the same property. I understand you have clients and they may be following you and you needed to show that. That's cool. If they're not, just avoid beating a dead horse because people are like, I get it already. And they may unfollow you or whatever. If the property is something that you aspire to sell more of, like for me, it's a mid-century modern house, I might promote an open house a couple times instead of just once. I might promote it like 3 times on my social. And again, if you have sellers that are following you, I get it. You're going to want to do it every single time. But just listed, just sold, open house sparingly. I wouldn't put like price reductions in there and things like that. It's not, this isn't the MLS. It's not, they don't need to see every little transaction. But when you tour property, if it's a cool house, document it. You're already there. You're doing the work. So just video it and take credit for the effort that you're putting forth by being there. The same thing with an open house. If it's a cool open house and you're there and you want to show like your setup of whatever you put out, or the pool looks all cool because it was cleaned, or whatever it is, that is a good selling point of the house. And it shows that like, hey, I'm busy. I'm an agent. I hold open houses because I'm busy and I'm a rock star. You can get a lot of mileage out of one listing. You just listed it. You have an open house. You can show real footage of people coming in. You talking to somebody, if you're working with a teammate or something like that, you talking to a client, showing the home or whatever. And then when it just sold, right? So you can get like 4 or 5 pieces of content, and they can all look different. They should all look different. It shouldn't be a picture of the living room for your just listed and a picture of the living room for the just sold. If you change the photos, it looks like you sold 2 houses, right? You just listed one house and it had the picture of the living room. And then all of a sudden, whenever you sold it, you show a picture of the backyard with the pool, and people are like, oh, dang, he just listed one and he just sold one. Like, no, it's the same one. You just aren't paying attention because you didn't write down the fact that it was 24252 Green Olive Street. Nobody notices that. They just see the picture and they're scrolling, right? We all just have the scroll and move on mentality. So those are things that you can put in as your real estate mix within your personal daily stuff. That's all about you, the you channel. And then for visual appeal, just make sure you're using high quality images. I try to not use stuff that has watermarks on it that says like, Shutterstock or whatever. Like if you're going to steal some images, I like unsplash.com. They have a bunch of free images, and the images look really cool. A lot of them are taken with phones now, so it could even look like you took it with your phone. And so they're all like portrait mode, meaning vertical. And then engagement, foster conversations by responding to comments, asking questions, and actively participating in discussions, and show gratitude. So just listen, someone's like, you're on fire, write back and say, thanks, lady, really appreciate it. Like, having an amazing year, instead of just hitting the heart icon or putting nothing. Showing gratitude goes a long way, and I think it's vastly underused in this industry, as it is in a lot of industries, but especially this industry. It's a good opportunity to show people who you are and that you're gracious when people are complimenting you on your success. And then hashtag strategy, research relevant hashtags and incorporate them into your post to increase availability and reach. There's an app called Hashtag Expert. I downloaded it. I use it all the time. You can put in a hashtag and it'll give you a bunch of hashtags that are suggested for it that go with it. And Instagram allows up to 30 hashtags, and there's no reason for you not to put 30 with every post. And again, I don't practice what I preach, but good. Now I've had to have this conversation, so I can have this conversation with myself too. 30 hashtags. Do you need to do that with all your personal stuff? No. You go to a baby shower, you don't need to put 30 hashtags about baby showers. But if you're gonna promote the fact that you're having an open house in Glendale, you should have, Glendale open house, Glendale real estate, Glendale homes for sale, etc. And by putting in Glendale real estate or Glendale homes for sale, the hashtag expert will spit out a bunch of other ones for you, so you don't have to overthink it. And you can just copy and paste it and throw it into your post, so that when people are searching Instagram for a hashtag Glendale realtor, then maybe your post comes up and they're like, oh, this guy has a really cool picture of this pool and it looks inviting, and that looks like somebody I want to work with. So if you're going to post it, you might as well add some hashtags for someone to find it, because why not? Why do 80% of the work and then leave the last 20% unfinished? And then consistency, just post consistently to maintain a presence on social and stay top of mind with your audience. And that's what I was talking about from the jump. Just don't overthink it. Just post about you and how you would normally post organically on your own Instagram. That's all about you, the you show. And then pepper in, the basics of your real estate stuff. Some screaming ass deal that just came on the market in your area. some new mortgage program, you're just listed, you're just sold, the basics, and just, you know, hit them with the commercials, but just stay consistent. So this is the best payoff, is whenever you can integrate all of this together. And so you can actually like post on your social media from your networking events. And again, going back to my first example of Darren, my lender, where he is, he's talking to the folks at the car shows, and then he's promoting it on his social media. So he's making the connection physically, handshaking with the car owner, talking to them about finance. And then he's showing all these cool cars to his audience. And then he's peppering in his mortgage offerings and rates on the next slide. So it's like, it's perfect. And he's not overthinking it. He's just like, I just want to do something cool to where people aren't going to just scroll past me. But I use that example because I think it's really brilliant. And some of the really brilliant stuff is the super simple stuff. And it's simple to him because it's authentic to him. He loves cars, and he loves networking, and he loves talking to people, and he loves selling his loans. So it's like the perfect thing. So if you stay within your lane and you talk to folks that are akin to you and you're authentic, then you have the opportunity to not only network in person and in social, but to then share your in-person experiences on social to pay it all forward. Question?
I think this is really good
So-
stuff. I mean, it's
So when you say next slide, like loan stuff on the next slide, what do you mean? I'm just, you know, caveat, I post very little on social, so I may not know, you know.
Sure, yeah. No worries. So that the next slide would be his opportunity where he's posting about like, hey, California Dreams for All is back, and here's the 3 criteria you have to meet, or here's this week's rates, whatever it is that he needed to post for his mortgage business. He would put it in there. He would put in the quote
So it's
unquote
like a second video, sort of, or
it would be like sometimes it's a video. Sometimes he'll do a video and he'll talk about current rates or whatever. But usually it's a static slide that has bulleted information, just something that like you can read.
so you're compiling like multiple pieces of content into one post. Is that essentially what? Just logistically speaking, in terms of like putting it on IG for like I haven't done it, so
Sure,
like
okay.
a carousel post, perhaps like one that has multiple photos with it, and you can kind of swipe through the carousel of photos.
Yes, you can do that, but mostly what I'm talking about is stories and reels.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So he'll have this thing where he's interviewing somebody in his story, and then his next story will be he's interviewing somebody else, and then the next one will be someone else, and then the fourth story will be his mortgage stuff.
So are those separate reels, or
Correct.
is that all in one reel?
There's separate stories.
Separate stories. But
Yes.
if I'm following him and I'm looking at his content, they're gonna show up like they're gonna just follow each other.
So
or that's just like next time he posts, he's gonna put in the other stuff.
if you follow him and you see his stories, they'll all appear there. They won't appear like in his actual posts. Sometimes he'll save those stories and make them highlights, so you can view the highlights. Sometimes he'll do posts of the cars and stuff like that, but he'll never put in like the slides promoting his mortgage stuff within the actual post. It's always within stories, like a commercial. It's always live. They're always static pieces within live content. It's never static, and then here's another static piece of information, and then here's more posts of pictures. It's not that way. It's always video, and then like static content, and then video, like in a story.
Cool.
I'm always happy to one-on-one that with you, Leon, because I know it's kind of confusing because Instagram has like 9 ways you can post all this stuff now, especially with like reels. I'm like, okay, I'm following this. I like Instagram because I'm a less is more guy. You can do A, B, or C, and now it's like, oh yeah, but also reels, and also you can save them here, and then you can like, and now we have threads, and I'm just like, oh shit, you guys just ruined why I liked Instagram. So I'm with you, Leon. I'm happy to tackle that with you one-on-one.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, this is all great stuff. But like you're going, and for someone who lives on social, it may be more natural. For someone who is only on it because everyone's telling me I need to use it for my business,
So, so-
and I didn't post anything, it's like,
yeah.
it's a little more, it's you're kind of starting from the ground up to even like put stuff up there in the first place.
So let's talk about that. So strategy that I would do if I were you is I would put some posts up. Whenever I do posts, and when I'm talking about posts, I'm talking about one static flat image. I'll do a picture, like some picture that has staying power, like a picture of my family with a Christmas tree behind them. Right, that's something that's classic, probably forever. The story stuff is like, hey, I went to McDonald's and I got a triple cheeseburger and I really ordered a double, but I got an extra patty today. Like, it's just like this random stuff or random occurrences, or hey, here's what my dog ate today. Like, my dog ate my shoe. Like, no, you don't want to create that as like a post on Instagram that's going to live there forever, because people probably aren't going to care. But today, like in today's news, so to speak, stories, that's what stories are. It's your story today. And today's story for Derek May, dog eats shoe, right? So that stuff belongs in the stories. And so when I'm using Instagram, I use stories like 95% of the time, because people care kind of what I'm doing today, versus what I did 3 months ago with a post. So the difference between stories and posts is that the story's only there for 24 hours and then it's gone. So if someone doesn't consume that content, they don't have a chance to see it. So if they're sitting down or flipping through stuff on their phone, the stories that are at the top of Instagram, they're more likely to watch those because there's only so much time before they disappear, and also because they're video and they're short. Instagram constricts those to be, I don't remember, I think a minute long, whereas other things could be longer in a post, or they could just be some static image of, like I said, my Christmas tree from 4 years ago that nobody cares about. But everybody wants to know about my dog right now. No one cares about my family photo from Christmas from 4 years ago. So I'm a big story guy because people are all over stories. So so long story short, no pun intended, what I would do is, Leon, I would focus on Instagram stories. I would develop your stories, and it doesn't have to be anything that's like world beating. Just start sharing things, little highlights of your day, something that's funny. Nothing gets more engagement than shit that's funny.
Yeah, that's the challenging part, because like most of the stuff you see there is like, here's what I had for dinner. You're like,
Yeah. Just
it's
yeah.
like
The funny stuff is gold. Irony. I see so much irony when I'm walking around in the world. I just can't help but like take pictures of it or stuff like that. Or whatever. I like reposting other people's stuff to my stories. Like, I follow some good quotes, like holistic kind of esoteric thinking, spirituality kind of stuff. Like, it's just kind of who I am. So I'll post some pictures of quotes about being mindful today helps you tomorrow kind of stuff, wellness kind of stuff. And so I'll post some of that stuff, and then I'll just see some random stuff out in the world, or again, my dog, or something that's relatable or funny, and I'll put it on there in stories. And then I'll just start very selectively putting in my real estate stuff. And before you know it, you have 4 or 5 slides from today that maybe 3 or 4 of them were relevant to other people today, or maybe they like 2 of them, but they saw all 5. And one of them was your real estate thing. And that's all that really matters, is that you're getting your real estate messaging, your commercial, and your TV show across.
All right. I am gonna cut the conversation short here just because we're at time. But I think this was really valuable. I dropped a few links in the chat, one being this document that Derek is going through right now. And then also the unsplash.com for any, free images that you guys might want to use that can be really useful and helpful. So feel free to utilize those resources. I can also send a follow-up email sharing both of those things with you all. So first and foremost, I want to thank Derek today for coming into rooms and sharing some of his expertise. This stuff it's a lot of playing the long game in both networking and social media. It's not something that can be accomplished overnight by any means. And so I think this is a really good foundation of where to start, especially as realtors in the industry. And he shared a lot of really great insights too. So thank you everyone for joining us today, and we'll see you next time in rooms.
Thank you, Hila.
Derek.
Thank you.